Hi, I'm Sophie, and I haven't seen a lot of movies.
Hi, I'm Paul, and I'm here to help with that. And we are
SP Film Viewers.
what are we doing? Kicking ass is what we're doing.
Does everyone know what that is from? I'm
No.
wondering if you were saying that to me, I wouldn't have a clue, because obviously, yet again, it's a film that we're reviewing that I haven't seen, because I don't see a lot of films.
No, that's particularly referring to the finale to this film that we're going to be talking about today, which is Little Miss Sunshine.
Yeah, so it's quite an interesting one, this is, the concept and everything. I think I got a little bit, towards the end, a little bit like, okay, this is getting a little bit beyond ridiculous for me, personally.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a lot of bits that it was like, this story would never, who could come up with this? So we'll break it down a little bit. So obviously you've got this little girl called Olive.
Yep.
Who wants been, these god-awful beauty pageants.
Yeah, sorry, America, I don't really see the appeal of these things, and rewatching this again, it kind of made me feel kind of uncomfortable.
I agree completely. Not with Olive, but the rest of them looking like Barbie dolls. It's like, how old are they? Are they like 8 or something?
Yeah, something far too young to be doing anything sort of like that. I mean, even like 10, 12-year-olds, it's a bit like...
They shouldn't even be wearing makeup at that point.
No.
They shouldn't even know what makeup is. I didn't. I was still playing with my Barbie dolls and all of that at that age. You know, no shame. I think I was still 12 when I was still playing with dolls and stuff. And it's like, no, be a child. You don't have it that long. You can be an adult for the rest of your life.
That's true.
Be a child as long as you can be a child. So yeah, if me and Paul ever have a child, I am not, even if it begs me, it'll be like, no, I'm sorry, you're not going into a beauty pageant. I would not be going to the length and breadth that this family does for Olive to get her there, because it just, for me, it'd be morally wrong to allow her to even compete like that.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
She's beautiful in her own right. So you kind of get this bit of a screwed up family.
Yeah, we have this, it all kind of like centers around the family having like, I guess, the equivalent of KFC or whatever from the thing, and they're all sat around the table and you kind of get to know them little by little as they're talking as a family, and it's kind of like soon realise how it's all the men in the family are all messed up in their own right.
Yeah.
Where you've got the dad who's kind of like a public speaker type pyramid scheme kind of person. That kind of
like, don't get me wrong, I love a good pyramid scheme, and I love a good kind of motto of like, okay, you know, kind of a good motivational speech. Yeah. But the way that he's giving Olive like well, if you want to win, you'll win. You don't want to be a loser. That is such a bad attitude to have. Yeah. Because in life, we know it doesn't always go to plan the way you want it to. But I feel like the universe tests you. Yeah. And sometimes it does it for the better. Sometimes you have to fight back and such. But so I do like these kind of mottos, but I think, to be fair, teaching it to an 8-year-old that if you think you're going to win, you're going to win. I just thought he was a bit of an arsehole of a dad. I'm not going to lie. Yeah. Like, just hyping up your child, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, making them believe they can do anything is possible.
Exactly. But there's also a part further on in the film where he's kind of like a bit of fat shaming.
Oh, yeah.
In the restaurant, and he's kind of like, so ice cream is bad for you, and you know how much fat is in ice cream from milk and cream and stuff, and it's like, that's no way to be telling a child, oh, you can't have what you want at a young age. That's
no, I'm thinking, oh my god, right, okay, body insecurity, she's going to be bulimic, she's going to start becoming anorexic just because of her dad.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm glad that it kind of, obviously Olive likes food too much, and still the temptation of the ice cream was there.
So we also have the brother, Dwayne.
Yeah.
Played by Paul Dano.
I think he plays a brilliant part in this because, to be fair, he doesn't speak for most of it. So I actually kind of think he's a really good character in this. And I know that sounds really strange, but his acting skills have to be harder than everybody else's because he has to literally express
by scribbling down notes and
his face actions.
Yeah,
yeah.
That's what he's got to play on for most part of it. Yeah,
until he kind of flips at the end.
yeah. But the reason he's doing this is to be a pilot in the military, I believe. So it's kind of like a vow of silence until he reaches that goal, which is again I guess it's maybe some way of pressurizing from the father in a sense.
Yeah,
pushing him
he's
too far, but it's like, well, I'm just going to head to the extreme.
I think he kind of does it as well in a bit of a I don't have to talk to you.
Yeah, angsty teen way. So that kind of works in that favour with that character anyway.
Mm-hmm.
We have the grandfather who's a bit of like a coke sniffing.
Yeah, which is really strange because he's like really close to Olive, and it's like you just thought he, not meaning this in a bad way, that he might not do that because obviously.
I think that's not in front of her, but it's kind of like behind closed doors kind of thing. He kind of does that out of shot, but he obviously he's very supportive of her dreams and ambitions, which is kind of nice. But yeah, he's not Mr. Perfect in how he is throughout his whole life, really. So
for him personally, if Olive is such a big part of his life and he really wants to be there, that he'd be second thinking about.
Yeah, maybe
what he's doing
this, but
yeah,
it's bad habits, I suppose. But maybe very, very, very bad habits. But yeah,
it's not great.
Yeah. So we also have Cheryl, the mother, who's the most normal in the family.
Yeah.
Other than Olive, obviously, the women are more
level-headed.
Subdued and level-headed. Yeah, she keeps it all together. But
I think that's any scenario. To be fair, the woman does keep everything together. They're a bit like glue.
And then finally, the other male character we've got is Frank, who is played by Steve Carell, and I know that we've been rewatching The Office, or I have, and Sophie's kind of seen it all the way through for the first time, kind of thing. And he's very different character from what he is in that show.
So I know him as Michael. That's like literally when he came on the TV. I'm like, oh my god, Michael's on, and it was like, wow, okay. It was really interesting to see him play a different role because obviously the only other times I see him with, I can think of the 40-Year-Old Virgin. Yeah. There's the one with Emma Stone in it.
Crazy Stupid Love. Yeah.
And he's still got that kind of a bit of a Michael Scott character about him. Mm-hmm. It's still comedy, it's still quirky, whereas this was a little bit, had comedy in it, but it was darker comedy.
Yeah, dark comedy, yeah.
And obviously his character is playing out that he obviously is gay, and he has recently attempted to commit suicide. So it's like a really dark role for him to be playing, which is so interesting to see because obviously I really like that. Like, I always think Rachel from Friends is Rachel from Friends in every role, and I know that sounds horrible.
Jennifer Aniston, more specifically.
Yeah, she's Rachel in everything I see.
Well, like when we reviewed Leprechaun back in the day. Yeah. But that was, I know it was sort of early days for her anyway, but yeah, I know what you mean. She kind of plays those similar roles in everything she does. There is one in film that maybe kind of interesting for you to see. Maybe not, I don't know if it'll be a review as such, but she plays a character in a film called Cake, and it's a bit like the Steve Carell character, where it's kind of more like she's more down and dumps about herself and a bit more depressive, I guess. But
I can't imagine that. That would be quite interesting to see. So basically, the whole premises about this is Olive gets an opportunity to take part in this Little Miss Sunshine competition.
Yeah.
Olive is obviously beautiful. She's really, really chirpy. She's so optimistic and just got that love of life and wants to do well and believes in herself. And I think that kind of free spirit as you do have when you're little, where nothing is that daunting.
Yeah.
Don't you wish that you could have that and bottle it as an adult, and then when you're doing something scary like presenting something or whatever, or going for a job interview, you just had this little bit of juice that kind of took you back to that childhood self.
Yeah, not giving a care about things, yeah.
So obviously they get on this road trip, they're having a bit of an argument of how the hell are they going to get to Little Miss Sunshine, and it ends up that everybody is going on this trip. Nobody's getting left behind. But to be fair, I think it would have been better if Cheryl and Olive just went we wouldn't have a story then.
We wouldn't have any character developments and all that stuff, but yeah.
At least she'd have got there on time and it'd been fine.
Yeah.
Where we get a lot of bumps in the road.
Yeah, many bumps.
So they've got a really, really rubbish minivan. Let's just talk about that. So, I mean, it breaks down, doesn't it? Like, God knows how many times, and then they end up having to jumpstart it.
Yeah.
Every time. Oh, my goodness, I could not be arsed with that. No. Have you ever had to jumpstart a car?
There was that time, wasn't there, when the battery died unexpectedly at one of the Christmas.
But you weren't pushing it, so that
no. But I've had the experience of having to try and do that because I've never had to try and jumpstart a car from a downhill kind of thing, doing the gear stick and all that stuff to make it do that. But no, I've never had to really try and push a car to make it, or to get it to somewhere where to fill it up with petrol. But I know you have.
Sadly, yeah, I've had more than one experience of this. So obviously, I can't drive, so Paul was the one in this situation where he flat battery. So I had to push the car. I think we had some support off one family member to help us. But I have another occasion where I was getting picked up from work from my dad, and it was a lovely summer's day. I think I was working evenings at this point, so it was kind of that pan.
Yeah.
So I was wearing flip-flops. Didn't think that my dad would come and have like half a tank, with no petrol.
Well, not even that, is it?
No.
I was clearly not.
I'm guessing the light was already on when he was there, because literally we got not even halfway up the street from where I was working, and the car stopped, and I had to get out in my flip-flops on my own, because there's no one else there to help me push this car. So in this scenario, they had about 4 people pushing this car?
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's a minivan, so they need a little bit more oomph.
Yeah.
I hate it. I hate pushing a car. It's the worst thing, especially in flip-flops and in a heat.
Yeah.
And trying to run in flip-flops while you're trying to push and then get into the car. That is some skill, I'm sorry.
That's right. Yeah, because I know Steve Carell's character, Frank, he definitely had flip-flops on and he used them to run in.
Struggles. Yeah. It's a hard struggle. So I feel sorry for them all on that one. So I'd have probably at that point gone, right, I'm done. You're not going. I'm sorry. My car's not working. We can't make it. But no, we persevere, don't we?
Yeah.
And I think it's because Olive is just that happy ray of sunshine within that family, that they all want her to succeed for them. Because they all have their own problems, don't they?
Yeah. They have the mother and father arguing about this, this deal that's the big breakthrough for him, and it doesn't come off, it turns out. So there's the whole debacle there between them.
Especially since she's been kind of footing the house and sorting out all the bills and such, funding it and all, and helping him, and then it's just going to be a flop. So there's a tension there of like, well, what we're going to do now? What are you going to do for job and such? So
yeah, Toni Collette, who plays the mother, she's great in everything really. And I don't know if you remember her from Knives Out.
Now you're saying it, I'm thinking that she probably, which one was she?
She wasn't the immediate family. She's kind of like involved with trying to get the duplicate amounts of money from.
Yeah, no, that's so strange. I didn't even twig that I'd seen her before. Normally when I kind of have somebody on the screen, I'm like, oh, I know them, but what have I seen them from? Yeah. And then Paul has to, bless him, reel through Google, what film might I have seen? Yeah. So I wrote one line down where she's we're on this road trip and the dad says, don't apologise is a sign of weakness. Just something like that, like to teach a child not to say sorry. Like I was a bit like that really, really like surprised me with that, because it's like I would never say that to my child. If anything, if I do something wrong, I'm apologetic for the rest of the day. Like I won't shut up about how sorry I am.
And then you know me when you do, it's like, yeah, I get it now. You've said your piece. Now we'll just move on, please. But yeah, you're very insistent on saying I'm sorry.
And thank yous as well. I feel like they.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. I sometimes do that as well. I feel really guilty about something, but it's not a great message to teach anybody really. To just don't bother, because it's. I know it can be a cutthroat world, but there's no need to be manners cost nothing, really.
No, exactly. And I think this 9 rule thing, yeah, it might work if you're a bit more of an adult, but I don't think it's a lesson to be teaching your child at such a young age. There's another thing where they forget Olive, so they're going to get some petrol.
Yeah.
Like, she's the main reason they're on this journey. How the hell did they forget her?
Yeah, and it's the brother who's kind of like scribbling down, like looking around and having to, the humorous thing of that is like, where's Olive? And then they're kind of like, oh yeah.
Yeah, she's not here. There. And it's like, okay, she's quiet enough. Yeah, she just sits in the background listening to her music.
Yeah, because I think, again, they're still very self-involved in their own problems and the bickering and stuff. They kind of just forget all about that in their rage and stuff. But yeah, with the headphones, obviously, the potty mouth grandpa is kind of like going on about to Dwayne, like, oh, just fuck every girl that you can, kind of thing. And it's just like,
all the morals in this film are just way out of whack.
Yeah,
it's just ridiculous. Like, I just don't get what Grandad would say. Did your Grandad say that to you? I mean,
definitely not. No,
I don't think. I can imagine my dad being a bit like that, though. To be fair.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I can maybe see that, but
yeah, I'm a bit worried about that. But we've also got the dad, which then Olive kind of gets another complex of that she doesn't want to be a loser.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if she doesn't win this pageant, her dad's not going to love her. I'm thinking, Jesus, that's a lot for an 8-year-old or 7-year-old to think.
Very heavy stuff.
Putting her through the works, and it's like, she's only little. You know, you shouldn't really be putting this much pressure on. Like, okay, yeah, they need to learn life morals and such, but they don't need... I don't even think I thought about stuff like that when I was 8. I was very much a child. I don't know what you were like when you were 8 years old.
I don't think it was, that sort of complex about things, certainly not, but...
No,
there's things to worry about because people weren't saying stuff like that to me, but you can sometimes, even nowadays, I kind of like put pressure on myself about doing the best at something or feel like you're going to fail for not doing it something at a specific time or that kind of stuff. But that's just human nature, I suppose.
It is, but I think I've kind of been doing this moral thing of where failure's not... I don't think it's a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Failure is... You only fail when you stop.
Yeah.
If you're trying all the time, then how are you failing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's like the moral, I think, when we have children. It's like, as long as you're trying your 110% best, I don't care. Like, I'm dyslexic. I can't spell for toffee. That's why we do podcasts. And that's why Paul does most of the Instagram pages. Or if I do write one, you're going to have to read it through.
Vet to make sure they can spell them. But yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
But I'm not saying, oh, God's sake, so why are you giving me to do this? I understand the limitations on that, but
at least as long as I try and I improve, then that's all that matters. And I think this is the thing where with this, it's got comedy though. It's funny.
Oh yeah.
But it's still like, what the hell? Like, some of the characters, don't you just want to shake them?
A little bit, yeah.
Like the granddad, like he obviously sadly passes away, and I kind of see that coming because obviously it's a drug overdose. How horrible is that he doesn't get to see Olive perform and he's been training her
all this time, yeah.
And it's like, could you just... I know it's addictive and I know it's hard with drugs and stuff like that to wean yourself off. Mm-hmm. But if you've got something that's so important to you...
Yeah.
Could you not just...
Hold off. Maybe, but I kind of like the way that they didn't make it like any like gruesome or anything like that. They kind of just like did it sort of lay out of shot like he's passed, and then you don't really see the body or anything like that. So it's kind of like a nice sentimental way of doing it. But like,
he was actually in the same room as Olive on that night.
Yeah,
and she woke up.
Yeah, to discover that. Yeah, and
like, how traumatic is that for? Like, even if that happened to me today, like if somebody died, and the thought of that. And not being able to wake somebody up, that I don't even know how I'd react to that. So it was like, part of me thought, well, fair enough if you were in the room on your own and then the parents walk in and find you like that, but don't let a little girl wake up and find you like that. That's bang out of order. And then, oh my God, it just takes a turn.
Yeah, I'm gonna say I was going to this as to the fact that I think I think it rewatching this and thinking it's slightly ridiculous, but I guess it's a means to move the plot along a little bit.
It's absolutely ridiculous.
It would obviously not happen in real life. The fact that it's like, all right, we've got to go for the logistics of like paperwork and stuff to move the body to somewhere else, but it's like, oh no, we haven't got time to do that, so can we just like take him or whatever? And then they just
like stuffing a dead body into
through the window and then just put him in the back of the car kind of thing.
Well, is it not going to smell? Like,
yeah,
that was my first thing. Like, eventually that's going to smell. And
although they do rectify that like when they get to the destination, but
that's not making it any better that they've got a dead man in the boot.
The fact that obviously they get pulled over because of the horns going at this point because the car's already broken down as it is, but it's doing this like beep 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 beep. I was like, oh, that gets on my nerves. But the police pulls him over, and it's kind of like how are we going to get out of this situation? Which I don't even know actually. Again, this is a bit of another. Realistically, this wouldn't not happen in real life. Something would go right.
Well, maybe with the American cops, you know what they're like.
But the porno mags save the situation. So thank you, Grandpa, for
somewhat
helping out there in that situation.
Maybe they should have just put loads of donuts. Isn't that like a cliche in America? Yeah. Like, if there's a donut, then you get off lightly. I don't know.
I don't know.
But yeah, but to be fair, going back to the fact of you saying that the porn magazines kind of help them out of that situation. If the granddad hadn't just overdosed, they wouldn't have had to steal his body to put him in the boot as a dead man. He could have been sat in the car with Olive watching her performance at the end, which is a bit bittersweet, I think. Because obviously it's like training somebody up and then you're not being there for her, really.
Yeah.
So I really dislike the granddad's character. Because I think it's a selfish act, a little bit.
I know addiction can be a tricky thing to kick, but
I know, but
it's easy to say.
I think it's if you're in such a dark place, then I get it a little bit more.
Yeah.
That's kind of like your only high. Whereas when he's with Olive, he does have that.
Whereas like Steve Carell's character, he's tried to commit suicide before, and he's a very fragile state at the moment. So that's why he's on the trip with him, in case something goes like really down the Swanee.
Yeah.
Which he kind of does in a way, because obviously he meets up at this gas station. He happens to bump into his ex, who's with this other partner now, and getting all this great praise from the school committee or whatever it was that it was involved in, and thinking, oh, this crisis is a really bad thing for him. That's not good for your depression and anxiety and all that kind of stuff. But he still powers through all this.
I really think he's actually, apart from Olive, he's one of my most liked characters, because even though he's going through a lot, he actually does have compassion towards everybody, and he actually brings everybody a little bit more together. He's not really dark
no
character.
Not downer, no. But then we'll get to the brother Dwayne, and his sort of like realization in the story of him figuring out where Olive like shows him these color blind tests to she just picked up at the hospital, and like saying, oh, can you see the color or the pattern in this image? And he's like, no, I don't see anything. And it's Frank who says to him like, oh, if you're colorblind, they won't allow you to fly a plane. But that is I've seen it from quite a while ago. That is one of the key moments I remembered from I know going in before watching this again. Remembered that was like a key pivotal moment for this character, because I felt so bad for him, because he's like doing all this time to his dreams shattered basically. He cannot do.
He's basically being swept underneath his feet, and there's nothing that he's not failed. It's nothing he can personally do to improve or get better. Yeah. It's just literally you can't do it, and that
just the duff hand really, and look at the draw of things. So,
and it's so dramatic because obviously you actually get to hear his first words.
Yeah. Fuck! A lot louder than that, but I'm not going to shut the house down.
But bless him, I just feel so sorry for him within that situation. But Olive, yet again, is the one that brings him back round to coming along to the family, because he says, just leave me here, I don't want to be part of this family anymore.
Yeah, he goes and like sulks down on the hill. The mum and dad never try and talk some sense into him from where they are standing at the top of the hill. Then Olive just decides to just go down, and all it takes is a little hug from the sister to him, and it's kind of like, we do this for her. So it's kind of like his character arc comes complete with that, and just a nice sweet gesture to realise that I'll do this for you. So that's another good. So I think he's probably my favourite character. Really,
I think he's a strong second for me. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, can we now talk about the Little Miss Sunshine? Competition. Mm-hmm. So this is where I get a little bit upset because I feel like you should never compare yourself, and I know everybody does it, and I'm bad for it. I really am, and I pinch myself every time I do it. And I don't think an 8-year-old should be looking at somebody else thinking, "Oh, you're prettier than me, you're more beautiful than I am," or whatever. You've got more makeup on, or she's thinner. So there is one point where Olive is like in a bathing suit, and she goes out in a proper, just normal child bathing suit.
Yeah.
It's not like a bikini or like a little
sparkly, glittery things or anything like that. No tassels or anything weird.
No, she's just a child in a swimsuit, and and she's beautiful. And then all the rest have got their hair up, they've got makeup on, and she's sucking in her belly, looking, and it's like. So, never send your child to one of these horrible beauty pageants. But let's talk about the end bit where her granddad has trained her up for this kind of finale show. So obviously I think it's any talent you have, isn't it?
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Oh my goodness. So I didn't know what was going to happen with this. I didn't know if it was going to be like a knockout kind of performance and she's just going to be brilliant and smash everybody because she's got this amazing talent. Or it's going to go the other way, and it went the other way, didn't it?
Yeah. I couldn't remember what the song was, but I knew it was something like fairly inappropriate for a girl of that age to be dancing to. But I was like, oh my god, yeah, it's a great one, and it's really funny.
What's the song again?
It is Super Freak by Rick James.
Super freaky.
Yeah.
And she's doing like the
yeah, because you see that in like when they're in the motel on the way there, and he's kind of like teaching her like to practice your going your tiger growls and everything.
I'm thinking, what's she doing?
What's this all in prep for?
Yeah. And then the fact that then when she starts taking her clothes off, not in a bad way, it's obviously she's got layers underneath.
Yeah.
But it's like a bit of a striptease show thing for like an 8-year-old, and obviously everyone else is absolutely appalled.
Mortified, yeah.
And it's hilarious. But at the same time, a little bit cringe, watching it, because it's like, it's funny because obviously the beauty pageant people are hating it.
Yeah, like, oh my god, how dare they?
Yeah.
This is undignified.
So but I love that part.
It's kind of the irony of it a little bit is like how they're all kind of like doing things that are also like cringy and a bit uncomfortable. Because like the dad's, when he's sat in the audience, he's kind of looking around and thinking, what am I watching here?
Yeah. It's like monkeys just parading round, really, isn't it? That's literally it.
Yeah.
Her dance is amazing, but obviously everybody wants her to get off the stage. Yeah. It is a bit kind of inappropriate for a little girl to be dancing like that and taking her clothes off. And bless her, she's so innocent that she doesn't really understand why they're being like that towards her. She doesn't get it. Mm-hmm. Also, there's another line when she comes on stage and says that her dead granddad, is now in the boot of the car. I was
like, oh, yeah.
Oh, God. But luckily, because she's 8, you kind of think, you don't really believe him, do you?
No.
But I feel like it ties it in a bow where we get to a point of where the family kind of become a whole.
Yeah, they all kind of join her on stage to kind of help her out in a way. It's like, just fuck it, let's just boogie along with you, and it's going to just like make her feel less embarrassed, I guess, for, for all this, and kind of like, yeah, we're kooky, weird family, just deal with it. And I think you guys are all snobs and turn your noses up at us, but yeah, we are who we are, kind of thing.
And to be fair, we're having more fun than you are.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, who would you rather be? In a nutshell. I think the granddad, though, what a character, and just not in a good way.
Oh no.
But overall, quite fun and light-hearted.
Yeah, I'd say so. So, do you think we're ready to go to scoring?
Yeah, it's going to be tricky to score this one for me, because there was elements I quite like, and there was bits that made me laugh, which is hard to make me laugh, especially in a movie, that is for sure. Mm-hmm. But there was so many moments where I had that horrible cringe feeling of, just why is this happening? Like, this is not real, and this would never happen. And I know I shouldn't think this in a film because it's a film and that's what films are for.
Sometimes you do have to kind of look past it a little bit, but
some of it...
It's to be honest, I think it's fairly sparse in this, but
it gets towards the end and then it just gets a bit ridiculous for me, where I think it stepped to mark with putting the dad in the granddad, in the trunk.
Yeah.
Like, who does that?
I think you probably, if it had been a thing of like the cop.
I love how you're justifying this.
No. Let me hear me out. Like, if it gone to even more extreme, like in some other ridiculous comedy where the cop would like open the boot or something, he kind of turns around and then suddenly the hand drops out from behind the cloth or something, and the dad's then trying to like kind of do it away and doing like a like, you know, kind of putting his hand behind his head kind of thing and pretending like there's nothing going on. I think you'd be like, oh Jesus, but thankfully it doesn't go that far. It kind of, because it has that sort of indie feel to the film. It kind of it plays it out in a nice way. It's not too silly in how it's going, but it's, like I say, it's still a black comedy in a sense, but not like too extreme films that we've seen.
I prefer a black dark comedy kind of thing. For me personally, that's kind of more tailored to my humour. I think because we're from the UK, we're a bit sarcastic. We kind of like that dry humour. Anything like Adam Sandler, I felt like that was getting a little bit at the back end, a little bit more ridiculous for me.
Okay.
But overall, I did really enjoy it. I think it's a really good film and it has some good morals behind it.
Yeah.
You do have some characters that you really do at the end become complete.
Yes.
Believe it or not, Richard and Dwayne are my kind of favourite two characters, which is strange because you'd think it'd be Olive.
Yeah.
Because she was like the main lead, but it's not. And I think it's because like, their progression of their story really seems to come out. Olive is just Olive and nothing really progresses or changes for her. Whereas Richard, you see him down in the dumps, but you see him really trying to help the family in the end.
Yeah.
Same with Dwayne, he's
changed. I like the line he says, you do what you love and fuck the rest. And I think it's like a good stance for that. Yeah, it's very memorable.
Yeah, and it's true. It 100% is true, you know. So take that on board, everyone. Don't worry about everybody else and compare yourself from everybody. That's what I would say. So, sorry about the ramble. Scoring time. I probably would watch it again, but not anytime soon. I think I'd have to forget certain parts to help me rewatch it again.
Yeah.
Don't know how much I can forget the granddad being dead and anyways.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a solid 7. I don't think I can give it an 8 just for certain bits were a bit cringe and like what the hell's going on. But overall, I think a really good piece of film. What about you?
Yeah, I'm sitting at the same level as you are. A 7. I can't really say I'd put it any higher, to be fair. I think I enjoyed seeing it again and remembering bits that I kind of maybe glossed over probably from the first once or twice that I'd seen it before. But it was really enjoyable and kind of the story flowed pretty well and the characters got their, you know, developments and stuff and you kind of got to see how they all progressed and one way or another.
Yeah. Different outcomes depending on who they were.
Yeah.
No, I really, really enjoyed it. So thank you for letting us review it.
That's well and welcome.
I think I wanted something a bit light-hearted and you kind of put this on, which was somewhat light-hearted.
Yeah, I think it's just one of those ones I kind of wanted to revisit, I guess, and it just like happened to be on one of the streaming services. I didn't have like a disc copy of or anything like that, but I'm thinking, I think it was actually one of the things on one of the posters on my wall was like top films to see, you know, the scratch off one that you got, and that was one of them. I'm thinking, all right, let's see if it's on. I think it was Amazon or something. Amazon Prime.
Was, yeah.
We watched it, but yeah. So I'm thinking, it'd be good time as any to go with it. But yeah, I'm glad you enjoyed it.
No, yeah, really, really did, and I recommend for people to watch it if they like what we've kind of given out. Maybe go watch it before we tell you that the granddad dies. Like, you know.
I think by now people understand that if we're having a long discussion about it, there's gonna be spoilers. Otherwise, episode would be like 5 minutes long. But yeah.
No, that's true. And we're just honest. That's what it is.
Especially you. About your thoughts and feelings. So thank you, everybody, for listening to the episode. Be sure to check out all our other episodes on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, and wherever else you may get your podcasts from. And of course, you can follow us on the socials at SP_filmviewers on Instagram and Twitter. And final thing, we haven't really been promoting this much, but we do also have a Buy Me a Coffee page where you can donate any little monies, the price of a cup of coffee or hot chocolate in Sophie's case.
Yeah, definitely not a coffee. Don't buy me a coffee. Don't like coffee.
Yeah, so if you do enjoy our content, then please, and you'd like to show your support, then by all means do drop us a little donation on there. It's very much appreciated.
Yeah, please do. And love a good hot chocolate with some sprinkles on.
And cream and marshmallows.
Yeah, fun fact for you all before we do leave you.
Mm-hmm.
So me and Paul actually met online. And in my bio, I basically said that every guy was like, oh, do you want to go for a coffee? And I'm like, it's getting so sick of this line of like, do you want to go for a drink for a coffee? And it's like, anything else but a coffee will do. Like, probably not a beer, because I'm not really a drinker, am I?
Well, you certainly weren't at the time anyway.
No. I like an odd drink now and again. But anyways, basically, I put in my bio, didn't I, that I didn't like coffee.
Yeah.
And I wanted a hot chocolate. And nobody read your bio, they don't, do they? Where Paul did.
And I mentioned, I'll buy you a hot chocolate.
Did you actually buy me a hot chocolate?
Will have done at some point, yeah.
So basically that's why it's a cute little meet cute there, really.
Yeah.
So to speak, yeah.
Yeah.
Because you actually read it, so that's why we're still together.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for listening, and we appreciate you support and comments and stuff like that. It does mean the world to us when we get lovely reviews. So please continue to do that, because it really, really drives us to want to continue.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
This. So thank you so much for that.
So thank you very much once again, and we will speak to you next time.
Speak to you next time.
Bye now.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.